Program. Thousands of demonstrators have protested for a second successive night in the Serbian capital, Belgrade. Demonstrators claim the response to the COVID-19 crisis has been mismanaged. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić was forced to backtrack after announcing the reintroduction of widespread lockdowns following a spike in the number of confirmed cases in the Balkan country. But he also refused to be intimidated by the violent demonstrations. Jay Marquez reports.
Clashes between the police and protesters have left dozens injured as violence erupted for a second day in the Serbian capital, Belgrade. The confrontations have been sparked by anger over the president's handling of the country's coronavirus outbreak. Wednesday's demonstrations began peacefully but soon turned to violence. The previous night had seen protesters fighting and running battles with police as they tried to storm the country's parliament. The unrest had followed an announcement by President Aleksandar Vučić that there would be a weekend of curfew and that he was introducing a lockdown. It came in the wake of Serbia's highest single-day death toll from the COVID-19 cases. But on Wednesday, President Vučić backtracked, saying a curfew would probably not be imposed in Belgrade, but a decision on stricter measures will be taken by the COVID-19 crisis response team today. Opponents accused the president of lifting the lockdown far too early in May, allowing football matches with spectators and a few limitations on movement, ahead of elections on the 21st of June that Mr. Vučić's party won by a landslide. Jay Marquez, Euronews.
Referring to the events of Tuesday night, President Vučić blamed extremists, criminals and unspecified foreign intelligence agencies for a group of protesters that breached the parliament building.
We won't allow anyone to destroy the peace and stability in Serbia, and this is the key message for them. We won't allow that from anyone, from the inside nor the outside. That's my message to those outside elements who think that we do not know how many fingers they put in the events of last night.
Well, Euronews reporter Bojan Brkić was at the protests and he sent this report.
What happened here in Belgrade and especially in front of the parliament was exactly the same scenario as the night before. People have gathered in their thousands to express their dissatisfaction with government decisions about the curfew, COVID-related curfew. Then some other groups joined those protesters who have some other grievances against the government, who accuse them of either corruption or potential betrayal of Kosovo, Serbia's estranged province that Serbia is negotiating right now with Pristina about its future. So a lot of different groups gathered to voice their anger at what they think is the main problem. They directed threats and insults to the Serbian president. They called the police officers to go and liberate Kosovo instead of stand around the parliament. The demonstrations were peaceful at first, but then a group of young protesters, some of them in their teens, started hurling stones and flares at the police. The police showed some restraint at the beginning, but then used tear gas. Most of the crowd dispersed. With the first incidents, only those young people whom we usually refer to as football fans, they stayed and they clashed with the police. There was a lot of tear gas. Mounted police was also used, and they were pushed further down this boulevard. You can see here some half a mile from this building. They were present for quite some time after that. So this was not a homogeneous group of demonstrators, and not all of them came here because of the announced COVID measures. And even about the COVID, they had disagreements. Some thought that the measures were too harsh. The others thought that the harsh measures we had in March and April, almost total shutdown of the country, should have never been lifted, because if they had never been lifted, we wouldn't have had this quadrupled number of cases and full COVID hospitals. So at the end of the day, we're not sure how many injured people there are, but I saw numerous ambulances driving away with injured people, and I saw some police officers lying